Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Simon Squibb. I will be your host, and I am excited to hear the incredible pitches we've got this evening. There have been, in total, 7 regional events with 7 finalists, and I think if you haven't heard any of these pitches tonight, you're in for a treat. And I think, from my side, I've seen these pitches, and I know for certain that we are going to be witnessing the next unicorn tonight. I know it. I see it in the companies. Woohoo! So I want to thank Chris for letting me host this evening. In fact, he's paying me, which I couldn't believe because I would have done it for free. And I pledged, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say the amount, but the enormous amount of money I'm being paid this evening, I am going to give it to startups, people that want to start businesses. That's what I do every single day on social media platforms. I give people money and hope to start their businesses. And I'm really honored to be up on this stage introducing what I think are really purposeful businesses. I run something called the Purposeful Project. I think purpose is the key to happiness. The purpose of life is a life with purpose. But there's one key ingredient to make any business work, in my opinion, and that's luck. I'm lucky to be on this stage. You're lucky to be on this planet. And the people coming up on stage are lucky. But what's really interesting about luck, and I've studied it intensely, is that luck has 3 elements to it that means you can hack luck. The first element is take risk. The more risk you take, the luckier you get. It's actually nothing to do directly with hard work. The more risk you take, the luckier you get. Destination. You've got to know where you're going. What is your purpose? And then finally, persistence. And all of the entrepreneurs pitching this evening, in my opinion, deserve their luck. They've earned it. They're leaning into the fear of pitching. Now, I've been on both sides of the equation. I have pitched my business and I have been pitched to. And being pitched to is far, far easier. So I'd really appreciate it this evening if you all gave a big round of applause to every single person that was pitching, both as they come up and as they leave. It's not an easy thing to do. It's much, much harder than it looks. And so any support you give, I promise you, the energy in this room will make people's day. So I think I want to just mention that one final thing, which is, doesn't matter what happens this evening. When it comes to this sort of event, what I've noticed, having been at events all over the world, it's actually the ones that have bad luck and lose that end up having good luck long term. Which might not sound like bad luck's a good idea, but honestly, bad luck and good luck, sometimes it's just a question of perspective. Buddha once said, we're all going to have 10,000 hours of good luck and 10,000 hours of bad luck. And I have known in my own life that sometimes my bad luck eventually turns into good luck. So no matter what happens this evening, all of the people coming up on this stage are lucky and they will succeed with our support. So without further ado, I would like to ask Kat and the judges to come up onto stage, and we'll get a little bit information about the judges and what they're all about.
I'm right next to you.
Hi everyone, thanks for a lovely intro, Simon. Welcome to the pitch. I'm Kat. I work at Inkwell, which is the team that runs the pitch. I am delighted to be joined by the panel of judges tonight, who are all seasoned investors and entrepreneurs. We're really pleased that they were able to join us, and I know they're going to be able to impart some really good advice for all the startups here tonight. Before we kick off, shall we go across the little line we've got here, and can everyone give a couple of sentences about who you are and what you do? If we want to start, who looks more nervous? Romy, do you want to start with you?
Yeah, happy to start. Hi everyone, I'm Romy. I'm the founder and CEO of PensionBee. We're a leading online pension provider, and we exist to make pensions simple, so everyone can look forward to a happy retirement. And I'm really pleased to be here and helping to give some support.
Hi everyone, I'm Louise Hill. I'm from GoHenry. I'm co-founder and chief operating officer. And GoHenry is a debit card and financial education app for kids from the age of 6 to 18 with parental controls.
Hi everyone, I'm Darren Westlake. I'm the founder and CEO of Crowdcube. We're the world's largest equity crowdfunding platform. Our mission is to help businesses like yours to raise money. and also to democratize investment and allow ordinary people to be able to get access to invest in amazing companies like yours.
Hi, I'm Anthony Fletcher. I'm the CEO and founder of Believe in Science. We've worked out a way of making a donut that tastes as good as Krispy Kreme but has as many calories as a glass of milk. Before that, I was the CEO of GRAZE, and before that, I was at Innocent Drinks.
Hi everyone, I'm Andreas Georgiou. I look after product marketing at Sage. Sage is the market leader for accounting, payroll, HR software for small and mid-sized businesses. We were a startup in the 80s, and we're now the largest UK tech company. So one of the few kind of UK sort of startups that have sort of scaled all the way up. I mean, my job, I will confess, I'm not an entrepreneur or founder, but in my career, I've spent a lot of time in government seeking out startups, ventures, how we might commercialize those. And at Sage, my job is to really look at the market and foster innovation and incubate new ideas, new business models, new propositions, and launch those, scale those through the business.
Lovely. And for the investors on the panel, it'd be good to know what type and size of businesses you would usually back.
Shall I go?
Darren, we're all looking at you, so.
All kinds and shapes and sizes, really. Our mission is to really help entrepreneurs and give them another option in terms of the way that they can raise money. So whether you're a kind of early stage company and looking to raise kind of seed stage round, and we can help with that. Or if you're a little bit later stage and want to leverage your community and your network like GoHenry have done in the past, and you're a slightly bigger company, then we can do that as well.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
I'm not an investor.
That's fine. And looking at the pictures tonight, what gets you excited about a business? And what do you kind of want to hear in those 90 seconds?
If I go first, I always look to hear a business that is looking to solve a problem. So a real purpose. There's a problem that exists, and this business is going to fill that gap, solve that problem. That a business that can be expressed simply, and then that either has some kind of revenue already or traction or some convincing plan about where the money's going to come from.
I can add. I look for a business model and understanding exactly how the business model and the unit economics behind the problem-solving work. And then within the pitch, what I love to see most is passion and the real belief that you are the right person to solve this problem.
Anthony?
I think one of the things which is always fantastic is when you meet an entrepreneur and you really feel they've got a point of view on the world, but also they can listen and you can have a real debate. And as you say, they're passionate and engaged on their subject.
See. You're all so polite and waiting to talk.
I'll go. So obviously, on top of what the guys have said, I actually really love the story. Like, where's the idea come from? What's that connection? Where's that motivation coming from? That drive coming from? Obviously, has to be a viable business model. Has to be a customer need, etc. But for me, that's what I'd like to hear.
Nice. Darren?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously agree with all those things. And I think on top of that, what I look for is kind of tenaciousness from entrepreneurs, because I think all of us have been through the process of building a business, and you have to be tenacious and be willing to battle and get over obstacles.
Lovely. And on the flip side, is there anything that would be maybe a red flag in a pitch? Anything that would kind of turn you off a business?
I think as an entrepreneur, you've got to be willing to have your point of view, but also listen and change direction. And you will make mistakes and you will learn and the business will evolve. And I think that's really can come across sometimes in a pitch, what people are interested in the subject and can change their mind versus maybe have too blinkered a view on the world and what they've already created.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think I'll probably go for the inverse of what I said in what I look for, which is a simple expression of what the business is and why it should exist. So a complicated, difficult to understand, difficult to articulate business plan.
Yeah. Robin?
Happy to opine. I suppose I like to see problem solving on the spot, and some of that ability to go into questions that maybe you haven't considered before and just seeing how you think through them. Usually in a startup, you are one of 2, one of 3, one of 5, sometimes one of 200, but in general, it tends to be a small team. And so the way you solve problems is really important because you don't have the infrastructure yet in place.
We've already kind of touched on like traction, and this is something we ask all the judges we bring up on stage because it's something we get a lot of questions on, especially from early stage startups. How can businesses just starting out prove traction, and what would you kind of expect to see in a pitch?
So, okay, I think, traction's relative, right? Depending on where people are in their journey. I think what I look for through traction would be, validation of product market fit, and that can come at any stage. But anything that sort of proves to us that a business hasn't just, it's not wishful thinking, it doesn't seem great on paper, that there's some form of validation and the business is going through the right steps to prove that, even if they're very early on in their journey.
Yeah.
I'd maybe add to that, it could be research that the business that the business itself has carried out. It could be a wait list. I'm going to say a wait list with a realistic expectation of conversion on that wait list. It could be all kinds of things, but it doesn't necessarily have to be customers and orders and revenue.
And I think if you go very early on, there's about the quality of the product, and there's various ways you can test and validate that, or the thinking on the branding, or the real understanding of the consumer problem.
Yeah.
For me, I look for stakeholder support. Most businesses will require a range of different stakeholders to feel positive about the company, whether it's customers, suppliers, other potential investors, employees, regulators. Why are stakeholders supportive of this business? Why do they want it to succeed?
I think going back to what Louise said about really recognizing a problem that everybody is experiencing, not everybody's experiencing, but lots of people are experiencing, and having a real solution to that problem. If they can do that, then traction isn't quite so necessary.
Great. And I've just got a couple more questions, and then we're going to open it up to the room. So do you think about anything you'd like to ask these guys? Looking ahead to kind of 2023, something we're hearing from a lot of startups is a lot of anxiety. Cost of living are up, inflation is up. Customers are maybe holding on to the purse strings a bit more. You guys have all been in business for a long time. You've gone through economic uncertainty before. Are there any life lessons you've learned from those periods, or any advice that you can impart to startups that might help them through kind of the next 12 to 18 months?
So Graze launched on the day Lehman Brothers collapsed. Okay. So they literally shipped its first box. And I think one of the things we got right is we decided on a price point, and it made no sense at all. As in, anyone who looked at this price point couldn't make it work. But we went, no, this has to be the price. And we worked backwards from that until we worked out what business model would work. And I think that stood us in good stead for many years, that determination. And the odd thing was, because of the financial crisis, none of the machine manufacturers were selling any machines. And we convinced these Germans to build this bespoke machine, the fastest in the world, and give us 2 years on credit on it. So, I believe there's something in working back and the solutions you can find when you do that. And also, occasionally, you do just get lucky to point earlier.
I think I would say know the levers in your business model. So take the time before there's a crisis, if you can, or before there's an issue. But play with your business model and run what I'm going to call what-if scenarios. So decrease your sales by 10% and 20%, increase your key supplier costs by 10% and then 20%, and see what it does to your bottom line. Because one of the great things that proves, I guess, is what the key levers are in your business and just how sensitive they are. So when something does hit, whatever that might be, suddenly the price of gas goes up crazily, or an economic downturn, you know which are the sensitivities in your model and which ones you need to worry about and look at. And I think if you've modelled those through and thought about what can I do about that, you'll be in a much stronger place.
One of the points that really resonated with me about being lucky is there can be a lot of luck in when you start your business, and whether you are starting at a moment where investors are really happy to kind of take those risks and finance companies that need more time and need more capital to get to traction. But at the same time, I do think that this environment, starting at what is hopefully a bottom, similar to starting just after Lehman Brothers, I think will help to keep the mentality that the next upside is just around the corner.
Yeah, and I think having looked at some of the finalists today, they sort of seem like perfectly built for the environment we're going into. And if, a bit like Anthony's story, if history is any guide, some of the best companies have been formed through periods. It's when consumers, markets are having to change, having to think a bit differently, and that provides opportunity.
Great. Darren?
I guess philosophically what I've learned is that life as an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, and you learn that sometimes you're at the bottom, but you learn that things often turn around, and before you know it, you're at the top again. But also, when you're at the top, things can go downhill quite quickly as well. So you just learn that that's the way it is, and it's never just going to be a flat line.
Yeah,
Comes
great.
back to that point that Simon made in the intro about resilience and determination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, great answers. And if anyone here tonight wants to get in touch with you after the event, where is the best way to reach you all?
If they want to find me on LinkedIn, for me personally, and if you want to know more about GoHenry, it's GoHenry.com.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, PensionBee.com.
LinkedIn's normally pretty good.
Yeah?
Yep, same here.
Same here. I think we're all going to be around at the end as well, so come and grab us.
Yeah.
Okay, you've opened it up now.
Sorry.
Lovely. I think my trusty helper Dan is floating around. Love being called that. Grown man Dan is floating around with a microphone. If anyone has any questions, we've got one just there.
Hi, thanks everyone. There was a couple of comments there around luck and traction. From an investor point of view, to what degree do you think that traction actually needs to be sales and revenue coming in as opposed to an idea or something that doesn't yet have that monetary figure?
I'm happy to go. When we first started PensionBee, it was an idea on a PowerPoint, but it was an idea with a very big opportunity to help millions of people across the UK. And so the potential for how the business could grow and develop was there, but there was no revenue, there was no product, there was almost nothing except for support, an idea, and passion. And this may come back to luck, but that was 2014. And so, at that time, I think the concept of traction was evolving, but certainly within our first round, we raised $1 million on that PowerPoint. And so I think that if you have the idea and the business model and the market size, then I think it's possible.
And I think I would echo that. So almost exactly the same. GoHenry it launched to the public in 2012. We raised £750,000 in our first round. We had a PowerPoint. We had a lot of customer research, potential customer research. And to the point you made earlier, Romy, we had a network of suppliers and a regulator who were saying, yeah, this is a great idea and we want to support this. And so we had no traction, but we had evidence of what we could bring together.
I guess we were slightly the other way around. We had hardly any money to start with. We had friends and family put in like 20 grand, and that got the business launched. And as we got traction, we could increase our value and get slightly more money and a better valuation. So it depends on kind of where you are in the process. But I guess if you got traction, you would attract a better valuation.
Yeah, I think what I'm a big believer in is MVP, prototype. I think you can explain to something to an investor with a PowerPoint, but a prototype, any props you can bring to help explain that story, I think help. And also I think it's a good habit as an entrepreneur to have taken those prototypes to consumers or done a little tech MVP. So, I've found, the myth of just the PowerPoint, there are other ways of convincing people that you're onto something.
Yeah, and I think it's about being kind of authentic and self-aware about where you are in that journey, and not trying to dress it up. Just be honest about where the business is. And there are going to be different investors suited for different stages of what you're trying to do. And so, yeah, just don't be frightened of being at that early stage, even if you haven't got that remuneration. I mean, I would say that from a company perspective, we've seen this big shift in the industry over the last kind of decade, where almost everyone had forgotten about economic fundamentals, and it was just, if the idea is fantastic, let's plow into it. And we're starting to see a bit of a correction into that. So I think as long as you can show that there is opportunity, there is some path, even though it's likely at an early stage your business model is going to change, it's going to be wrong, you're going to need to adapt. But at least it's on the thinking, it's on the radar, and it's not just we think we can make some money somehow.
Yeah, Romy,
I'll add two quick things. I think on the product demo, I genuinely feel like that changed our success rate when we introduced the product demo, and especially because the individuals we were pitching to felt that they could see themselves as customers. So creating that affinity between the investor and the business concept, I think, can make a big difference. And then my final point on traction is, people always want more traction. I think anyone, we are public, and I still get asked for more traction. So traction never goes away. So I think bear that in mind when it feels like I have delivered so much, how much more do you want? People always want more traction.
Great. We've got another. You did put your hand up and then you put it back down. Yeah? Okay, just there.
Hi everyone, I feel like I'm on Match of the Day. My question's around, it's often quite difficult to get the ear of an investor off the bat initially. How do you go about doing that? What's the thing which is going to get their attention? And is that first contact you have with them, is it more of a kind of relationship building? You talk about being really genuine and authentic and being yourself. Do you present more of a kind of professional? Obviously, I expect you might say, play it by ear and see how they react. But I was just getting your take on whether or not you think we should be more human or more kind of business-like and pitchy from the outset.
That's a really good question.
I mean, in terms of how you get to speak to them, warm introductions are so important. Just sending a cold email is not going to get you anywhere. So, really rinse your network to try and find somebody that's got the right connection to get you through to speak to somebody and get that warm introduction. That is, absolutely imperative. I'll let somebody else answer the other question.
I was at an event the other day where one of the other people on the panel said, I'm not saying I agree with this, but her position was never pretend that it's a practice pitch, never go in thinking this is a dummy run, that might be the investor that's going to fund you. So be prepared, go in and deliver your pitch. And I sort of thought about that because that wasn't something I'd thought about before. I thought about it afterwards and I thought, yeah, that's absolutely true. But I like the comment that you made about being human. I think there's absolutely space to be human whilst you're doing your pitch and create a relationship, relate to the people that you're talking to, because they're human beings as well. And if you can build that into your pitch, then that adds strength. But I agree with what the other lady said a couple of weeks ago. I don't think you should practice.
Yeah, I think there's such time pressure. I'd be inclined to agree that if you've got the shot, go for it. I don't know if this is related to the being human thing. I think if you can stop pitching earlier or somehow move from pitch to conversation halfway through, those tend to end better. So I don't know if that's about asking them questions, not just do you agree, but somehow see if they're engaging.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean by the create that relationship. Stop, laugh, ask a question, which can be incredibly difficult to do when you're incredibly nervous. And I think all of us have probably done that 100 times, and we know how tough it is. But,
And ultimately, it's a two-way thing, right? You're trying to build that relationship because you're potentially going to be partners for a long time to come. So if you're going in with kind of you've pitched a version of yourself that isn't you, and that's what people like, then that may cause some friction down the road as well in the relationship.
Great.
I think the final point is just anyone could be an investor. And I think that, as I look back on kind of the years of fundraising, I feel like almost everyone in my network was ultimately approached with the pitch. And the business becomes a part of your life. So I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question. Just over here.
I was just thinking, I think I'd pitch every taxi driver. Every Uber driver. I'm like, you got kids?
I'm curious if you have any advice for aspiring entrepreneurs who potentially have a strength in one area, maybe an idea, or maybe they're a consultant with a very analytical background, but know they lack the other side of the coin, but potentially don't have investments or funds to hire or want to co-found with somebody else. What's your advice or opinion?
In my experience, I would find the other person who truly believes in the idea and is willing to take risk with you.
Yeah, I would second that.
Same.
I'm going to say something a bit controversial. I think it's good to have a mix of founders, but choose very carefully. And you may want to set up the business that if it doesn't work, the business doesn't go down in flames.
Yeah, and I think there
It
are
happens.
Yeah, and I think there are other ways that I think when you talk about surrounding yourself, there are different ways that you can do that. But it's again being self-aware of what those strengths and development areas are, and how do you just generally surround yourself with those people.
Okay, I think that's all we've got time for, but as Andreas said, these guys will be around at the end of the evening, so do feel free to ask them any questions or pick their brains. They're all very friendly. I know they look a bit serious, especially Darren at the moment, but they are really friendly, and they're here because they really enjoy supporting startups and they just want to help you guys succeed. So yeah, do ask them anything. Can I get a round of applause for our lovely judges? You guys can head back to the seat.
I'm going to tell you the secret in the investment world that no one ever tells you. If you ask for money, you'll get advice. If you ask for advice, you'll get money. That's how you talk to investors. I've invested in 76 companies. The other thing that I think might help the people about to come up here on stage who might be nervous. Personally, every investor I know, including myself, we invest in the entrepreneur and we want to have fun. Like sometimes I'm invested in a business 13 years now. I've spoken to that founder every single month for 13 years. It has to be fun for you, for the people you invest with. They're investing in you, you're investing in them. Make it fun. Have fun with it. Enjoy the business. Enjoy the moment. With that being said, again, just to remind you how important it is that we give everybody that comes up on stage here a big round of applause when they come up and a big round of applause when they get down, even if the pitch is awful. Let's give them some love. And I want to make sure I don't miss anything on my list here, as I'll get into trouble from Chris. No, but I just want to say again, thank you for having me up here. 3 years ago when I met Chris, I actually retired. I know I look too young, but I retired. I sold my company to PricewaterhouseCoopers and thought, that's it, I don't need to work anymore. And I got bored and thought, right, I need to get back into the game and help founders, people like myself that want to start businesses, and went on Google. So Google will be pleased to hear. Found Chris and what he's doing, and I just am in so much admiration for Pitch UK and what they're trying to do to help founders. And today, let's have some fun. So that being said, I'm also dyslexic, by the way, so I'm going to say people's names wrong. Don't be offended. It's all part of the fun. But the first person up on stage today is Margin. Did I say your name right, Margin? You want some help? Yeah. I'm totally for hire if you want me to demo. While we're waiting, I just mentioned one other tip. All the judges we were talking, trademark your businesses. I got caught out twice with a trademark squatter. Trademark your brand.
How's this gone here?
Yeah. I just saw your first advert. It was awesome, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Congratulations.
Probably got too many.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have some?
Just stand on the dice. Okay, yeah. What do you need? Oh,
Shall I tip us some back out?
match of the day. Cheers.
Okay. 90% of UK adults and children are not consuming their recommended daily fibre intake. This is important because fibre-rich diets reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, colon cancer, heart disease, and obesity. IO Fibre Water was created to give consumers an easy way to boost fibre intake. My name is Mawson, and I'm a co-founder of IO Fibre Water, and each bottle provides 6 grams of fibre, 20% of an adult's recommended daily intake. Alongside this, IO Fibre Water is also the only bottled water in the UK that's prebiotic. This is because we use an ingredient called chicory root fibre, which is a proven prebiotic. Prebiotics are special fibres that actually feed good gut bacteria, giving them the energy to survive and thrive. Prebiotics are key to digestive health and to preventing digestive disorders. We successfully launched IO Fibre Water in May, and we're even outselling established brands like 7-Up in trial locations. We're backed by Colin Temple, the CEO of Shoe, and by research from Glasgow Caledonian University, and we're a Scottish Edge Award winner. Our founding team consists of a professional VC and 2 award-winning entrepreneurs, and our product range was developed with experienced professionals formerly of Brewdog and Sainsbury's. We'd love to win the pitch, to raise brand awareness, and to help us expand our investor base. Thank you, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. Really exciting. Tell us more about the sales trial. It sounds really awesome.
We're being tried in vending machines in Scotland. So we're in 2 park and ride locations, busy park and ride locations, and we're stocked against brands like Iron Brew, 7-Up, Coke, and we're actually outselling both Iron Brew and 7-Up in both machines in terms of value, so value sales and also units sold, which is really incredible to us because we're a new brand, we don't have the brand awareness, but it just shows the demand for gut health and fibre products that consumers have at the minute.
Thank you.
What does it cost, and what's the demographic of your target market?
Okay, yeah, so the RRP is 189. And the target demographic is 35 to 55-year-old women. That's the core demographic that we're aiming at. Health conscious and average and above income.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask,
Yeah.
who do you see as your competitors? I know you said you're the only company with the fibre added, but in terms of gut health drinks or drinks, health drinks, who do you see as your competitor base?
So there's the kombuchas and the kefirs out there. So we have an advantage on the kefirs in that we're non-dairy. And then with the kombuchas like the kefirs are probiotic. So they introduce new bacteria into the system. Our drink is prebiotic, so we actually contain fibers that feed your existing good gut bacteria. So we're basically the first prebiotic drink out there, and we have a study that supports our health benefits. A lot of these probiotic drinks, people aren't sure if the actual good bacteria reaches their intestines intact and actually helps their gut health. So with us, we've done a study with Glasgow Caledonian University, and we've also done research with consumers. We've surveyed people after drinking the water for 12 days, over 28 people, and we've had improvements in sleep, mood, appetite regulation. We're different. We're new. Unlike probiotics, we're completely new, and there's no real competition right now.
I have 2 questions. My first one is, why stop at fiber? I would love to have more vitamins in my water and get everything just done with one drink. So I suppose that's the first one.
Okay, so it was just from a messaging standpoint, we wanted to have a simple message. So our water will give you 20% of your daily fiber, and that fiber will also feed your good gut bacteria and keep them healthy. So we just wanted to have a clear, concise message that wasn't diluted, because there are other drinks, of course, that are doing vitamins and protein. So we thought, let's just have our niche and stick to it.
Okay, and how does this make me feel when I drink it over many times?
Sure. So, as I said previously, we did a survey. It's just 28 people, and it's still ongoing. So we're going to keep doing it. So, for instance, sleep improved by 27%. So people said their sleep quality improved by, on average, 27%. So of that, 28 people, sleep improved on average by 27%, mood by 22%. The most impressive statistics were around appetite regulation. So 68% of people drinking our water every day for 12 days said that they were consuming less at mealtime because the fiber helps you feel fuller for longer. So there's going to be great applications around weight management, we feel.
Thank you.
Okay. I've got a couple. So you talked about your target audience.
Yeah.
How do you plan to reach them and cut through?
Okay, so we've been giving away a lot of product for free just to, because this is our pilot run, so we wanted to test the market and gauge feedback and response. So we have a lot of great testimonials. So far on Trustpilot, we have over 30 great reviews. So we have 29 5-star reviews, 1 4-star review. On Amazon, we have 22 5-star reviews, all 5-star on Amazon. So what we want to do, especially D2C, is we want to take those testimonials and use paid advertising to amplify them and get them out there. So instead of just, as you scroll through your Facebook feed, you just see this is a water, these are the features. We actually want to show it from the perspective of the user and the benefits that they're getting, and we'll bring in the survey results with that.
I'm afraid we have to stop it there.
Okay.
I don't like this part of my job. I've got to stop you.
No, that's
fantastic.
Okay,
well done.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Just to mention, of course, there will be 2 prizes today. There will be the judges deciding on a winner, but there'll be a people's choice as well. So don't forget, you can also vote online. And we'll try to let the audience ask a question. If the judges run out of questions, which I'm sure won't happen, but if they do, please put up your hand as well in the audience. We'll try to get a question from you as well. So next up is Elisa. Hi.
World of decentralized energy, where energy is fairer, cheaper, and greener. We'd love you to be a part of that journey. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'm very eager to hear your questions.
Which of our judges would like to go first?
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. So tell me more about the kind of economics of it. What does it cost and how much does it save you?
So I'll talk about through the unit economics and pass back to Al for the savings. But in terms of what it costs us to produce, at scale, we're looking about £1,300 per unit. And then to sell it on to consumers on a D2C basis for £4,750. So that works out about 71% profit margin per unit. In terms of what it saves the customers.
I'll talk to that. So if you had a 3 kilowatt hour solar installation, you'd be saving about £830 a year. If you added the nested loop and you'd have a 5.4 year payback period. So you're really only making that money back after that period. If you add the nested loop 5, you bring your payback period down to 4 years and your yearly savings to almost $2,500. So, it's a larger investment up front, but you're saving money in the long term.
Thanks.
Can I ask about the market demographic? Who are you targeting this at?
Yeah, so we see the market size is really huge, but to begin with, we are going to be focusing on 30 to 50-year-olds, usually men, relatively wealthy, own their own home, and really focusing on people on time of use tariffs, which is basically when you have cheaper energy at some times and more expensive energy at others, because it allows us to just exaggerate the cost savings, essentially. In the longer term, we see our market as being huge, basically every homeowner, but that is where we are starting.
I'm intrigued, why men?
Just because in terms of, if you look at the demographics of solar adopters, it's usually men aged 30 to 60. I would love that to be more women, but unfortunately that's what the numbers say currently.
If anyone in the audience has a question, you feel free to put up your hand as well.
Hello.
Oh, maybe I'll get you a mic.
Oh.
Hi, quick question.
Hi.
What's the life cycle of your product? Like after how many years does it become redundant, and how do you manage recycling and what's the percentage of the recyclable materials that you're using?
So we haven't fully explored how much of the unit we can recycle afterwards, but in terms of the lifetime of the product, so the thing that in the product that will essentially degrade the fastest would be the battery. So it's good for 4,000 cycles. So in terms of what that is for the average person, it's approximately about 10 years of usage. But again, if you're using it, cycling is essentially emptying the battery and refilling it. So if you're doing multiple cycles per day, that'd be slightly less than 10 years. If you're doing more, so if you're doing less than one cycle per day, you can sort of look to expand into 15 years. If you're doing multiple cycles a day, you'll probably be looking more about 6, 7, 8 years.
What kind of route to market are you thinking to scale?
So we're looking to approach the market in two ways. So firstly, with a B2B2C model, we're selling to solar installers who are then selling on to the end consumer, but then also D2C, where we're selling directly to consumers. And the sort of key difference there is we think with a B2B2C model that will allow us to expand more widely and quickly by sort of passing on most of the operational effort required, sort of on the ground installing and moving things around onto those installers, with the D2C model being sort of the more profitable routes where we're selling directly to customers and then we're not sort of giving away as much margin to the installers.
Very interesting. Obviously, the kind of savings are sort of in large part a function of wholesale electricity prices, so produced on the grid, and those have gone up by a factor of sort of 4 or 5 in the past year and a bit. So I guess, is your analysis in a kind of post-gas spike world? And if it is, is there a kind of scenario where the prices go back to kind of their long-term, what they were before 2020? And is that a kind of a risk?
Yeah, I can take this. So, of course, the causes of our energy price increases are really complex, partly because of the political narratives, but very complex. But a big part of it is that we are largely reliant on fossil fuels and we have a centralized energy infrastructure. So we've had some short-term, these price caps, but only lasting till April now. But really, the problem needs to be solved, and our solution is part of solving that problem and bringing those energy costs down for everyone. So, yes, the savings are exaggerated because the energy prices are so high. We don't think that's going to go down anytime soon, and also we are a solution to bringing those energy prices down and making the grid more stable.
Great pitch. Oh. Quickly. I'm going to get in trouble.
Can you give me an example of an assumption that you've had that's just been proven wrong as you've been building out, that you've had to pivot from? Sorry, probably hard.
Just say none. Right, since the beginning.
I've got a good one. So when we first started out, we sort of felt that we wanted to go as high tech as possible, screens, and sort of have people be touching it and poking and doing all sorts of customizations. What we found after speaking with customers is they actually don't really want to be touching it or interacting with it that much with the actual unit. What they much prefer is a unit that is smart and automated and sort of making decisions of its own back based on what it's learning from their usage. So yeah, I suppose what they're looking for is something that's autonomous, as it were, as opposed to something that they're tweaking all the time.
Great pitch, guys. Well done. I have never touched my solar panels. I do not care about touching. Gabby, you're next.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabby, and at age 22 I was a trainee teacher placed in a sixth form centre where students would ask me questions like, Miss, what's the difference between a credit card and a debit card? Or, I really want to get into this career, how can I do it? 88% of young people and 94% of employers believe that life skills are at least as important as academic results for young people to be successful. But often, it's not until we leave education and step out into the big wide world that we really start to notice where the gaps in our knowledge lies. There are over 7 million 20-somethings in the UK trying to figure it all out. So I left teaching and launched Talk Twenties, the UK's first peer-to-peer community that focuses on normalising and discussing the highs and lows of early adult life. Think money-saving expert, but with life skills. We have 4 key pillars of content. They are finance and money, career and business, well-being and relationships, and adventure and culture. And in terms of traction, we've built a community of over 30,000 20-somethings, with our MVP being the Talk 20s podcast, for which we've been nominated for multiple awards. To build this business, which is Gen Z focused, I need a really strong Gen Z team. So I'm joined on this journey by Felix, a fellow podcaster, and our creative producer, Georgia. In terms of revenue, we work with brands in terms of partnerships. So we work with a large UK leading digital bank, who are our main headline sponsor, and lots of other companies who are really focused on building their brand awareness within the Gen Z market. We've had an acquisition approach already, but we're focused on raising investment to launch our Learn platform in 2023. Thank you very much for listening, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Judges.
Ooh, another person on the stage. I'm going to go first. You talked about how you're going to monetize it. In terms of if it's a platform where there is two-way interaction, how do you moderate the content that other people are posting on there? You said it's peer-to-peer, and I'm quite interested in how you moderate and make sure that that stays safe.
Yeah, at this moment in time, it's all about building that community around having this conversation. I think it was early on in my 20s when I really started to realize that not a lot of people talk about this weird phase where we're trying to all figure it out, and everyone's feeling it, but nobody's really talking openly about it. So the podcast allows us to do that, that we host and we bring in experts to talk on that. And there will be some element on the Learn platform we build for the community to have those conversations, but largely it will be delivered content that we produce ourselves with experts and advisors within that they can then engage in and potentially comment and give feedback on in that kind of way. So yeah, that is the plan for the platform.
Thank you very much for a great pitch. It sounds like you've got some great traction, really great content. How does that translate into monetization and financials over the next couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a six-figure business in terms of what we've managed to build through sponsorships over at this moment in time, which is great. And we've done nothing. We had no funding externally. It's been bootstrapped up until this point. It's just been me for the past 2 years, and Felix and Georgia have recently joined for the rebrands. So we're really starting to grow with that, and then we're seeing loads of brands kind of want to reach out and kind of work with us on the next phase, which means that perhaps the likes of PensionBee, for example, would want to work with us on educating 20-somethings on why they need to be paying into a pension in their 20s. Like, that's so important, but how do we communicate that? And we kind of feel that I don't know if we have a relatable approach. I mean, maybe you can talk a bit more about that in terms of how we kind of deliver that content, because we don't want it to feel like school. We don't want it to feel like we're boring people with the information that we provide, but this is important stuff at the same time that is left out of the education system.
Thank you.
I feel like this is serendipity, because last night I was talking to one of our customers who said, how do we tell more 20-year-olds about PensionBee? Yeah. And here we are today.
Yes, solution.
So tell me though, how do you acquire your customers who are within, and are they customers? The individuals that are participating in the content, and how do you acquire businesses? like PensionBee?
Yeah. We believe quite strongly that our content should be free to the consumer for the most part. Maybe there's room for like a freemium model, like the Spotify kind of mode, but I think we don't want to perpetuate the already existing inequalities that we see in the world. And by putting fees on a course or an information about buying your first home, that's only going to make it harder for a young person to buy their first home who is already struggling to get on the ladder. So we believe quite strongly in that. And so, yeah, we don't charge our audience for that, but we really value them because they are data, they are information. That's how we can tell our brands that we work with, you know, this many young people are paying into a pension, this many people aren't, and we can provide that information through the data, and that's how a customer is valuable to us, and then that's how we get that hook in for the brands that we support and work with.
How do you think about sort of beyond kind of content and education? Have you got any aspirations to create product or to go beyond just advice?
Yeah,
I'll take this one. So definitely we feel like in year 2, one of our main focuses is building a learn platform. So the idea is to have an app or similar where 20-somethings can have a hub of information, a hub of knowledge that they can easily turn to when they need advice on career, business, well-being, culture, adventure, everything. Just that hub of information that they can easily turn to.
At the back of it.
Sometimes, I've been a judge myself, sometimes the judges need a break. So if anyone in the audience wants to ask a question, pop your hand up.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm an investor. You talked about the platform being for 20-somethings who haven't worked it out yet. I'm in my 30s and I still haven't worked it out. Can I join?
Absolutely. We want to nail Talk 20s, but then absolutely, this is a mission about life skills. This is like, we're not taught this stuff in school, and it's really important that we do. So we're just starting with 20-somethings because they're the most obvious ones that are really screaming out for this help at this moment in time. But we hope to take it upwards and also into education once we've really hit the nail on the head with 20-somethings. Yeah.
So I have to stop there, I'm afraid.
Okay, cool.
Great pitch. Just to say, I think Romy wants to be your sponsor, Gabby, so don't forget that lead. And everybody, go to your phone if you can and download the podcast. We can help an entrepreneur no matter what happens just by doing that.
Thanks,
download the podcast on Spotify and give them a 5-star rating. It knows how much that will mean to everybody. Thanks, Gabby. Thanks, guys. Next up, George Bell. The only one with your second name on here. Don't know why. Match of the day.
Good evening. So, what is the value of the investment that you've made in your staff's well-being? Overwhelmingly, the answer is, we just don't know. Poor mental health costs UK businesses £45 billion a year. And in response, companies are investing heavily in programs that support well-being and culture, but without any real idea of the impact this is having. Well-being is the only cost centre in business with no defined financial outcome. And that is why we have built Chorus, a SaaS platform helping people managers to understand well-being impact and return. Because as Peter Drucker put it, if you can measure it, you can manage it. Now, our model, which we're calling well-being accounting, is unique in scientifically correlating well-being investment with business outcomes, underpinned by a machine learning algorithm that consolidates extensive academic research on well-being. Now, myself and Greg, we, as founders, we have considerable experience in the well-being sector, and our development team includes a Bristol University data scientist and a carbon accounting software developer. Now, in beta trials with Lloyds Banking Group, we were able to demonstrate a return on investment of over 800%, and our pipeline now includes the likes of Live Nation and CICI, with a subscription model forecasting 20 million inside 5 years. We recently received a 50 grand Innovate UK award, woohoo, and we are now looking for 250k under SEIS to build, launch and scale our MVP to give us 18 months runway, underpinned by a industry-defining analysis model. Thank you for listening. And now, to field all the tough questions, my co-founder, Greg.
Judges.
No, thank you very much. Help me understand, as the business owner, what I look at and what I see to help understand whether I'm doing the right thing or not for my employees?
Well, so you're spending a lot of money on well-being, or perhaps you want to spend a lot of money on well-being, and it's understanding how that well-being is affecting staff, so in terms of subjective well-being and that kind of thing, and then being able to correlate that with things like reduced turnover, reduced absence, which are sort of harder data, or presenteeism, things which are more subjective, and being able to say robustly, this is what we've spent, and then this is the impact that that's had.
Thank you.
On the similar topic, how much as a company do you need to put in time from individuals and managers and talent teams to get the software to work?
Well, we've gone through a whole process of thinking we wanted a big shiny platform ourselves, realizing that actually we need some very specific data inputs. We've thought very hard about how we can integrate, how we can streamline such that we're not adding to the tech burden, and that we're not asking people to be being drained by asking more and more surveys. It's a very specific lot of surveys of simple questions that people ask, and an option for the businesses to give us more data that they hold.
And really integrating with existing processes and platforms in there. So whether that's Slack or Workday or something else, it's not saying here's another platform you have to sign up for and use and log into and fill in. It's just saying there's a very small amount of data that we can collect, piggybacking on your existing processes. So yeah, as George mentioned, we're not looking to sort of be another one of the 500 apps that enterprise companies use every day.
Who is the target audience? Is it the largest employers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, ultimately, at the moment, we end up having conversations, and some people end up wanting to know whether or not they should be doing well-being, not whether or not they should be delving into the analytics around it. That said, we know that there are key voices. We've been working in the wellbeing sector for a long time. We know the people for whom this really is a big deal. We're not trying to convert everybody off the bat because it's quite a hard sell for some of those people, but there are key voices who we are working with and in a process of consultation with at the moment. In the same way that we've seen the environmental shift, where a lot of companies are now clamoring to demonstrate their environmental credentials and ESG, we're seeing the same shift in the social, and we are aiming to be at the forefront of that when the loop starts closing and organisations are having to justify the outcome of the spend that they're making on their staff.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so do you not compete with the other kind of employee engagement platforms and HR platforms then?
We would say that we're absolutely complementary to them. So it's in the same way that the sort of, you'd want, as a marketing agency, you'd want Google Analytics to understand what the spend that you're doing is having. That's what would happen with an EAP provider. Would want to be able to demonstrate that the stuff that they're offering is actually having an impact, and that's the service that we offer.
But will they never develop the same kind of offering that you have as part of their offering?
Well, yeah, that is an interesting question. But so there's a huge amount of research that exists already into understanding and measuring well-being, and being able to kind of delve into that and create a model which kind of is comprehensive enough is a significant amount of work that wouldn't really make a lot of sense for those companies to do. And then they have their own one, but then someone else, has a different one, and then so this is kind of us being sort of agnostic.
Someone came up with the term of not marking your own homework. And a lot of people who do provide well-being services, it becomes impartial if they're developing a system to measure it themselves. And so ultimately, we're trying to create a way that an organisation can benchmark themselves, and that they can reliably see how they demographically or in terms of geographically they match up against other organisations, for example.
Anybody in the audience wants to ask a question? Quickly.
What do you define as investment in well-being? Just as opposed to some of the systems that might measure, well-being on an ongoing basis.
Well, that's a good question. I suppose we're kind of thinking either a company can use it to say we're going to now look at this specific investment that we're making, whether that's in implementing flexible working, or whether that's in a specific year program or a workplace choir or something like that. It's not to say that we're defining something as wellbeing investment or not. I suppose it's kind of like the broader picture of cultural, the social side of the ESG, and understanding how you can actually sort of quantify and understand that. There were some questions.
That's it. Thank you so much for pitching.
Thank you.
Good job. about well-being, I think about my colleagues over there that I work with that I haven't fed them today because they've come here at 5. I will feed you guys later. Bastien. Woo, exactly. Here you go. Thank you.
We're going to have sampling later on, so come and join us after this. Hi, everyone. My name is Bastien, and together with my co-founders Emily and Charlotte, and our advisor, Giles Brook, who's a legendary food and bev investor and challenger brand advisor, we're here to present Lilk, the next big thing in plant-based milk. So the world is quickly embracing plant-based product, and this is really driven by flexitarians. They're set to reach half the UK population in the next couple of years. In the UK alone, the market for plant milk is going to reach £1 billion by 2027. However, taste is still a massive barrier. 80% of shoppers rate the taste of plant milk as either poor or very poor. Lilk innovates away from the traditionally single ingredient model by blending, by combining, and borrowing all the functional sensory qualities of all these different plant-based ingredients and create plant milks that are tastier, more dairy-like, and more sustainable. Nice. From the bottle. We'll give you a cold one in a minute. Yes, our product is 30% less carbon intensive than the market leader, who shall not be named, you know who is. And that's nearly 5 times better than dairy milk. So if you were to swap your daily latte from milk to Lilk, it would save you the equivalent to 32 Eurostar trips from Paris to London per year. So that's not bad. We launched earlier this year in January. And we're now the top-rated plant milk on Ocado, and we've recently launched in Holland Barrett, in Waitrose, in food services, cafes, and even internationally, all the way to Kuwait and South Korea. So we're definitely doing something that is meeting this strong, difficult challenge and this really strong demand. So yeah, we'd really like for you all to welcome us and join us in proving that taste doesn't have to come second to sustainability. Thank you very much.
Well, you
I
tell
love
the
seeing
judges
that.
it's
That's
just a
awesome.
demo and they shouldn't be drinking it.
We will bring you a cold one later on.
Thank you very much. I've
Thank
swigged
you.
from the bottle as well, and if anyone hasn't tried it here, it is absolutely delicious. Is there anything in the business and how you make it which stops those large players creating their own blends? Because I agree, it's a fantastic product.
So obviously the recipe is IP'd. We've done hundreds and even thousands of different combinations, so that's kind of our own IP. It's what led The Independent to name us the best plant milk 2022 for the taste, the versatility, and the eco-creds as well. Some of this is going to be patentable next year. There's a new super eco-friendly product that we were launching in Q1 next year. I can't divulge too much about it. It's also Innovate UK. But if you sign an NDA on a pack of Lilk, I'll tell you more later.
Thank you.
Can I ask, how are you going to stand out on the shelf? You've made it very clear in your pitch to us how you stand out and how you differentiate yourself from the other plant milks that I see in the supermarket when I go in there.
Yep.
But to the consumer who didn't have the advantage of that pitch,
That's true, yeah. So people love the product when they try it, but how do you get them to make that very important first buy? Because retentions are really, really high. So, it's all about doubling down on the concept of blending. When we speak to buyers, they tell us, we don't want yet another oat milk, there's 50 of them already. So the fact that we're providing something unique, I think is really important. It's about meeting different occasions as well. So doubling down on that is very important. There's a brand evolution project that is launching next year, and it's all about how everything is better when you blend it. Music, mixing is better, and everything in life. So we're going to collaborate with some creators, with some artists, with some sculptors to bring that to life. Yeah.
Tell me about the nutritional aspects for me as a consumer compared to regular milk.
Yeah, so it's on par with some of the oat milks you see out there. It's better in terms of sugar content, so it's 25% better than the market leader, who should not be named. And the blending really gives you opportunity for range development. You can really borrow those qualities like protein and stuff. So we are
Anyone in the audience? Oh.
It's all right. I was going to ask one more question. You're clearly live. You're in the market. I actually saw it in Ocado when I was doing my online shopping. I haven't checked out yet. I need to go back and add it. So you're live. What traction have you had? You're talking about new products coming out next year. How long have you been live?
We launched earlier this year, so it's been really quick. Ocado, we sent them samples, and 2 weeks later we had the listing. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, we're quite new on Waitrose and Holland & Barrett. On Ocado, this has been amazing. We've already overtaken other challenger brands and completely overshot them. Nestlé launched a brand earlier this year and threw millions at the problem, and their sales are completely flatlined. So yeah, we're hoping to replicate this elsewhere, also internationally.
Well done.
Please.
Hello, it's a great product. I'd love to try it. But taste is a very hard concept to sell. So how else are you going to try and make an impact if you're not using taste?
Yeah, it's very true. If you run a TV ad, you can't make them taste it. And all the products out there claim that they taste the best and they're amazing. So there's going to be a lot of sampling, right? We're going to have to get this into people's hands. Smaller formats is something we're working on as well, is to ease that first time purchase. Encourage that repeat purchase as well. But it's really about bringing this to life. So telling the stories of why this, the approach we've taken, the innovation we've taken will improve. And I think using other areas in life is going to make people understand that this is something that they ought to be trying. But yes, it's very subjective. Again, blending gives you a lot of opportunities for own development. So, for example, this one is oat, coconut, and quinoa. It's quite unique, right? So that kind of piques different taste preferences. The other one is oat and rice. It's very neutral, kind of like dairy, really. Yes, exactly. And so, that again is an opportunity to satisfy a different audience. So that gives us a bit of an edge, hopefully.
Okay, I have to stop
Would
it
it
there.
appeal to children? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Would it appeal to children?
So the large blend specifically, mums keep telling us they love it for their kid. We just won 2 Nourish Awards, because a lot of kids are lactose intolerant. In some regions, it's up to 67%. So most people can't actually drink milk, and yeah, they love it for that and the enrichment as well.
Yes, great. I was thinking with these pitches, of course, it's about winning. That's important. But we could all go on Ocado or wherever you shop and buy his product today. I promise to buy £50 worth on Ocado tomorrow. So we could all do that and then share it with our family. And between us here, he's got 300 new customers, right? And anyone listening online, watching this later, order now. So, Alina, you are next. Welcome.
Tech. We're surrounded by tech. So how many tech devices do you have? In average, we get the answers like 6. This is not a coincidence. It's all by design. The tech industry has built its business model around segmenting our daily tech needs into as many products as possible. This strategy doesn't only hurt our wallets, our mental health, and our nature. But our nature. So this industry, the tech industry, basically generates more emissions than the airline industry. Can you just imagine? We're all hearing airline industry that it's generating a lot of emissions, but we never thought about tech industry. So also it generates more toxic waste than any other waste stream in the world. And we're here to change that. We're building 2 all-in-one portable tech, which can replace all of our portable tech in the future. The first is Sense. Operating from a single chipset, users can switch between earbuds, headphones, and speakers in seconds. Isn't it great? Cool. So basically, this Sense can save our initial target audience £550 than the nearest alternative on the market. And also, it can reduce the associated environmental footprint by up to 67%. So we'll be selling directly to our customers online, shipping from the factory to the door, no middlemen, no warehouses. So my name is Alina, and I'm co-founder of Coyote, so alongside with our co-founders like Freddy and Daniel. So Freddy supposed to be pitching here instead of me because he was the winner of People's Choice. So yeah, he had a meeting right now. So basically, yeah. So what can I say? The next Apple is ethical, and it's coming from the UK. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Keep the mic. We're going to answer questions. It's not easy to step in for someone, but actually it was kind of cool that someone's selling, meeting a client, and not just pitching, so that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So he had a meeting with an investor, so the investor came.
There you go. So don't miss out, folks. Invest now. You know, like closing the round, end of this evening. But who has a question, please?
I'd love to. It sounds fantastic, and the saving is large. Tell me about how you're going to come across to the consumer. Is this all about a cost saving? Is it about the environmental impact? Because I think a lot of tech is also a little bit about image and desire.
Yeah, so right now we have a problem of chip shortage in the world. So big giants are fighting over chipsets, right? So basically Taiwan and like all the Asian countries are almost winning in this. So basically we are depending on these countries. But like right now, if we solve this issue of chipset in the industry, so we're basically saving the emissions, saving like, you know, a lot of like waste out there that is
the UK. Yeah. So the US is a 10 times bigger market than the UK. Sustainability is a regionally important issue, should we say, in the US. But just getting into the US and then getting into some of the retailers there who have big sustainability agendas is what would drive that achievement of 40 million by 2028.
Thanks.
And is there a way to protect the recipe, the product, protect it from competition?
Yeah, so at the moment it's trade secret, and we own the formulations. We develop them ourselves. Nobody else in the UK or elsewhere in the world has the same formula as us. Right now what's protecting us, frankly, is it's bloody hard to make, and that means the big guys can't make a product this good. However, there are ways to scale it up through time, and we have started looking at what a IP protectable next stage would be. But as a side hustle, that's not something that I've been able to achieve yet. But I know what we would want to do.
I mean, obviously the ratings are amazing, but if there was a gripe amongst your customers, what would it be?
So we actually have two issues, which actually we're trying to address through this slight reformulation and relaunch into retail. So the first is actually, ironically, the size makes it very prone to breaking because it's quite a big bar. There's quite like a lot of surface area. A child who grabs it and bends it will be able to break it. So breakage is an issue, and although when it's broken, it's not broken. You can still use it. Obviously, that's a disappointing consumer experience. The second issue we have is actually like, not to get too like in the weeds, but this is slightly too quickly in really hot baths. So this reformulation would allow us to slightly tweak it to mean that it didn't release quite so quickly into bath water.
Thanks.
No problem.
Anybody in the audience got a question? I'm being told it's the end, but anyone? But quickly before we go. The handsome man at the end. Who walks with me?
Just talk loudly if you want. So, I'm just interested. Have you tried this on social media, and if so, what sort of results have you seen from that?
So we post, every day. Social media is our home. Most of our customers come to us via Instagram, actually. We have this is Henry's domain, but 5,800 and some followers on Instagram, but some of our reels get 50,000 reach, that kind of thing. We're very much in the space of you're buying from us, so we're very present, and that helps with our reach and the connection we have with our community as well. I posted about tonight. I've had people saying, "Well done, Kate, do well." So we do have a really good community there on social media.
Yeah, I will also promote you on my social media. I've got 1 million followers on my socials, so make sure you give us. But I've got a 5-year-old. I think it's more than 50,000 pieces.
I may have hit up your.
Yeah, they're geniuses. They made me famous. So definitely, Kate, well done. Great pitch. Thank you for what you do. So now we will be moving to the winner announcement. Chris, did you want to come up and say a few words? I think Chris deserves a round of applause, by the way.
Thanks, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Chris, and I'm part of the team that runs the pitch. So first thing to do is thank the rest of my team that keeps me afloat. So thank you to them. And we're going to announce the winner in just about 5 minutes. So I just ask that judges, if you could make sure you've submitted your questionnaires, that'd be great. You've also been emailed a link to vote in the People's Choice, so do have a look at that and vote in a second. And I just wanted to say a little bit about our partners while we wait for that announcement. So we've had a philosophy from the start with the pitch about making it as accessible as possible. That's why we go all across the country running competitions, and that's why we keep it completely free for the founders that take part. And the reason we're able to do that is because of the amazing support of our partners. So first of all, we've got Sage, who are our headline this year and also sponsored the side hustle stream that Kate, that you saw there, won. For those of you that don't know the brand, they've got an amazing accounting software package. If you're running a business and you're not using one, if you're in spreadsheets or anything crazy like that, you need to look at accounting software and recommend starting with Sage. Secondly, we've got Avon May. They're an app and software development company, and they specialize with working with founders. So they really do understand what it means when you're cash-strapped, when you're working on your MVP, and when you're doing those different stages, and they can advise you and walk you through that. We also have Crowdcube, who've supported us maybe for 3-4 years now, I think, Darren. So quite a long time now, and we've had some incredible raises. You know, people go through the pitch and raise funding on Crowdcube. So, for example, one of our first introductions was Small Robot Company, and I think they're on their 4th or 5th round, and now have done over 10 million on the Crowdcube's platform. We also have Fiverr, so they are a freelancing platform, so you can find all the kind of help that you need to plug into your startup, right? So there's a lot of small teams here, there's a lot to get done, and there's a lot of specialist skills you need, and that could be anything from video editing, homepage copywriting, and so on. Fiverr can help you find them, and if you have a look on the pitch website, you can even get a discount code as well, so do check them out. We also have Haynes Watts, who are a national firm of accountant, have been incredible in supporting the community this year and doing free coaching sessions. So it's been really great to put some founders in front of them and just give them that bit of guidance that they need to get the books in order, do their financial planning, particularly as they get ready for fundraising. And finally, we have Agora, who are specialists in recruiting into fast-growing startups and also VCs. So if you are at that point when you're starting to scale your team beyond that kind of initial sort of 3, 4, 5 people, they can really, really help you with that process, and they've got some amazing brands that they've supported over the years. So we're just totaling the scores up at the moment, and I'm kind of waiting for the signal from the back of the room. So what I'd love to do is just get maybe 1 or 2 bits of feedback from the judges and kind of what they felt or what they kind of got from the pitches tonight, anything they liked. So I don't know who wants to kick us off. Maybe Anthony?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I enjoyed all the pitches. I think the most common theme was the sense of passion and purpose, which shone through. These are all companies which are going to have a positive impact on the world, and I think that's tremendous.
Brilliant. I'll definitely echo that. I really think, what's beautiful about the pitch is you get to see the different angles that people are taking to solve some of society's biggest challenges. So the environment came up again and again, but with very different approaches to solving it. Darren, do you want to?
Yeah, likewise, I just thought the pitches were all very good. They didn't seem particularly nervous. And the girl who stood in for her co-founder that wasn't here, she did a great job. So big respect for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm probably the most nervous person that's got up on stage so far. Andreas?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we've seen so many different ideas, huge diversity, people coming from different backgrounds and, different levels of traction, but you can see how all of these are, could be viable businesses, and whether you win tonight, it's all validation that you're here on the finalist stage with a credible business.
Absolutely, and Simon made that great point there that, even if you don't win, it's just great to get that exposure, and do take that time when we're having a drink in a minute to reach out to any founders that you're impressed by. I know there's some investors in the room, but maybe you're a consumer too, and you just want a bit of give them a bit of feedback or advice on what you saw. So, Romy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I became a customer of about 3 different brands tonight, and that is part of the joy and the success of pitching, especially if you are looking to convert consumers.
Brilliant. And yeah.
Not sure what there is left for me to say other than what professional pitches they were. You know, really well presented, really clear, really articulate, and just to echo what everybody said, the passion that came through was strong.
Lovely. And can I get one final round of applause for our judges? They all... They've all built incredible businesses and kind of are a little modest in their introductions. So, you know, I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and support founders at the beginning of their journey. I can see envelopes literally being stuffed at the back of the room. So I'll hand back over to Simon, who's going to say a few words and then let us know who won.
So I just want to, again, shout out to Chris. Chris, he never mentions it. He doesn't put it on the slide, but he's a company called Inkwell that actually funds all of this. He works very hard doing that business. And I'm going to butcher what you do, but you basically help people say things right in words. Is that fair to say? Did I pitch you right? But he has a company called Inkwell, and you should all go check it out. If you want to write things properly, then speak to him and his organisation. And you do a great job every year, so well done to you. So, my neighbour is Ricky Gervais. I feel like I'm going to muck this up like he does the Oscars, right? So the winner and People's Choice. Which one should we do first? People's Choice, I think I'm told. People's Choice. All right. I better have a drum roll or something. Inkwell. No, joking. Talk 20s. Congratulations. Well done, well done. I believe we're standing up here. Congratulations.
Do you want to come up on stage, the co-founder?
Oh, the most important.
Thank
you so much.
For a second to see
Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Well Thank you so much. It means the world to have a room of people who have had lots of experience in business and are doing amazing things themselves validate what we're building. So thank you so much. It really does mean the world, and hopefully we can help as many 20-somethings as we can through winning something like this. Yeah, you're probably a better wordsmith than me.
No, can only echo what Gabby said. I mean, what we're doing, it goes beyond the podcast. It goes beyond the Learn platform. What we're trying to do is build a community. So yeah, thank you for believing in us. Yeah.
Well done. And now the winner. I'm trying to imagine who it is. Who do you think it is? Here we go. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. I'm trying not to look at anybody in particular. Rowdy Kind. Way! Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. Wow. Wow, I feel quite overwhelmed, actually. Sorry. No, really, I'll get control of myself now. Anne-Marie and I have spent 2.5 years building this with, ourselves. And some of these businesses are going to change the world. So I'm really humbled to be actually awarded that in this company. I truly came here today expecting to just be proud to stand on the stage. Thank you. Thank you all.
So I believe that's it. Now we have bottomless Google pizza. Is that right? Non-stop champagne. Is that how we? No, but I just want to say congratulations to everybody that pitched this evening. Incredible. I know we all felt the energy. Unbelievable. We'll all be following every single one of these companies, right? We'll buy your product. We'll follow you on social. We'll do whatever we can to help you. And again, congratulations to the winners. So enjoy the rest of your evening.